At this point in time, here's another response. Some people, they'll punt the subjectivism. They'll say, well, look, that's true. You guys finish the sentence because you know what I'm going to say. That's true for you. Good try. That's true for you, but it's not true for me. Okay, you got your truth, I got mine. So what do you think about that?
They believe there's logic to what they believe.
Huh?
Yeah. For the most part. Yeah, some stuff might not make sense, but they're understanding. And so, none of us are going to understand. So we try our best to.
Well, maybe not fully, but does that mean that there's no truth to be known in the first place?
If there is no logic to God and we truly cannot understand God's nature, we cannot get to heaven and all his meaning.
I'll give you a chance to reply.
Okay.
So you were talking about like none of us can understand this. So I said, well, maybe not fully, but can we come to a partial understanding? Can we know something about God?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. So let's get one, two other people here to, somebody says that might be true for you, but it's not true for me. Everybody's got their beliefs and, live and let live, bro. Somebody who hasn't spoken to me. You guys can't let all the extroverts carry. I have some people.
Yeah, Josh.
Go ahead. Okay, good. You say that louder. I like that.
I'm just asked, is that true for you or is that true for me?
Okay, so you use their own phrase again. Okay, good. Now, one thing that's probably a little bit less confrontational than that is I just, ask them a question. What do you mean by that? So that little prepositional phrase, I'm an English teacher, guys, that's a prepositional phrase. That little for you part, why did you add that onto the statement? Why don't you just say that's true? Why do you say that's true for you? What do you mean by that? And they just kind of shut up and let them talk. And listen to what they say. Maybe usually what they'll do is they'll answer that question by just repeating what they said. So they won't actually give you an argument for it. They'll just kind of like rephrase it and sling it back to you. Now let me give you a distinction, like a philosophical distinction that I think will really help you think through this issue. It's called the inside-outside distinction. Okay. So with any statement's about something, right? So the statement "cats sleep on mats" is about what?
Cats.
Very good. Cats. Thank you. So every statement's about something, and it's either about something in the world or about something like inside of you. Okay. So if it's a statement about the world, we say it's objective. Right? So a statement could be, an objective statement could be false. Right? So what's your name? Caleb. So the statement, Caleb can bench press a motorcycle. I don't know. He's pretty strong? Yeah. Can you bench press a motorcycle? That's pretty hard. So probably false, but that's still an objective statement, right? Now, the statement, red is the best color, I'm saying something about my preferences, right? So that's a statement. That statement is about something inside of me. You guys get the distinction?
Yeah.
Okay, so a statement that's about something outside of you, that's an objective statement. A statement that's about something inside of you, like your feelings, emotions, and preferences, that is a subjective statement. Nod heads that we're on the same page here. Okay, now, when it comes to the statement, God exists, what kind of statement is that? Is that an objective or a subjective statement? Let me get a show of hands here. Who says it's objective? Who says it's subjective? Okay. So, let's tackle first, guys listen, let's tackle first the claim that God exists. That statement is a subjective statement. Can anybody defend that? Anybody want to be brave and try to articulate why that's a subjective statement?
I mean, if you're a pantheist and you believe that God is in everything and of everything, you could argue that God exists, like, depending on where you sit in the world. If you happen to be in the perspective of, say, a rock, you may not be able to see God. So you may be able to say, God does not exist for me, but God exists for you. But even so, that logic still kind of falls a little bit short.
So are you saying that, let's see if I can understand you here. Are you saying that when I'm thinking about God, God pops into existence? But when an atheist is thinking, he pops out of existence. Is that what you're saying?
If you're a pantheist, then that's how your understanding of God works.
Okay. So you're saying that a pantheist has different beliefs than you.
Yes.
But are his beliefs an accurate description of the world?
Well, God's beliefs. I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
So you said, you talk about the pantheist. So the pantheist's beliefs about God, are they true? Are they accurate?
They fit into the world, so they're always accurate. But that's only because they describe what they see in the world.
Okay, so
they only believe God is good because everything is good to them.
So the pantheist has beliefs about God, but those beliefs can be true or false. They are accurate descriptions of the world or not.
They are true, accurate descriptions of the world, but that's only because they see what they see. If they thought that something was one thing, but it was actually else, then that would.
So what you really seem to be saying then is that when somebody believes that God exists, that's not an accurate description of the world. They're just saying something about their own preferences, and they're projecting that on the world. So really, God doesn't exist. People just think He does, and they're just projecting that belief on the world.
Schrodinger's weird, man. But yeah.
Schrodinger. Why are we talking about Schrodinger all of a sudden? All right, is anybody else? You guys see what I'm saying here? So the person who says, here's my point.
I think he's referring to these cats.
What the person who says that's true for you, but not true for me, what they're really saying is that God doesn't really exist in the world. People just think He does, and they project that belief onto the world. So the statement God exists is false. People just have projections. So what they're trying to do when they say the whole true for you but not true for me bit is they're trying to be nice. They're not saying what they really think. They're trying to kind of like put a little, like soften the blow a little bit and say it in a way that sounds really tolerant. Because if they said what they really meant, it wouldn't sound very nice. It would sound kind of mean. But it would be more accurate to what they really believe. So when somebody, here's the point, when somebody kind of gives you that true for you but not true for me bit, really try to nail them down and get them to admit what it is they're saying. Okay, that they think that God doesn't really exist. People are just projecting that belief on the world. And say like, look, if that's what you really believe, just say it. Okay? And now you got to defend it. You got to tell me why that's true. Okay? Why is it just a projection that's not really, there's no really God in the world. It's just, people just think He exists. Okay? That little for you, that little prepositional phrase that's added onto the statement, it's meaningless. It's useless. It doesn't work. It just sounds really nice. Okay? Because we don't talk about things that really exist that way. We don't say, well, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated for you, but for me, I got different beliefs, man. Live and let live, right? We don't talk that way about things that we actually think really exist. It's just a weird way of talking. Okay, so if somebody tries to subjectivize it, point that out. Making sense? Following? Okay. Sort of. Well, if we don't move on to the other